I'm Tom Reed, and these are my drawings. Today I'd really like to talk about, I guess, where the roots of these drawings are from, why I make the drawings the way I make the drawings, and I think the best place to start in that is just the whole process that I go through in making one of these. The whole background in all these pieces starts out from using found papers from coloring books, from maze books, word finds that my family members have given to me. I'll start with the background, and the reason why I start with the background in all of these is originally it was more or less out of fear of a white sheet of paper and always having, you know, a ground that I could respond to and that I could interact to or interact with as I was making the drawing. One thing that I realized as these drawings became, you know, more and more fleshed out and the ideas became more and more fleshed out is that there became this really amazing tension between what was collaged and what was on top. And there's nice moments where I feel like when you see the drawings from across the room, you're immediately drawn to what's the composition that's there. The closer that you get to them and more on top of them, that becomes a little bit more blurred, and I like that. I like that kind of that rub that happens when you get on top of the drawings. These three drawings in the show are from two distinct bodies of work. This large one back here is from the Schooner, Michigan series, and the Schooner, Michigan was this really wonderful story. I was doing a commission for a person, and she wanted a piece about Niagara Falls. And so in looking for all these pieces about Niagara Falls, I discovered the Schooner, Michigan. And the Schooner, Michigan is the first, I guess, what would you call it, stunt, publicity stunt that they had at Niagara Falls, where these two hotel owners got together. They bought this old ship called the Schooner, Michigan, and they painted it to look like a pirate ship. And they had dummies of pirates on there, and they filled it full of live animals, and they sent it over the falls, and which is just like this really fantastical and horrific story. And I've never done, you know, all my work sort of comes from me and this personal dialogue that I have going on, and a lot of it comes from my sketchbooks. And this is the first time that didn't happen, where I was really just so amazed by a story that I had to run with it. So I did a series. This is from a series of 5 drawings, and this is actually the moment right before the ship went over the falls. So this was a little bit of a departure because I really wanted to create these images where I wasn't necessarily illustrating the story. I wanted to tell the story and have it be in my language, but I didn't want to have this linear illustration of what had happened. So I took it through the moments of what happened and sort of recreated it in the way that I make images. The two other drawings on the outside are from the Frost Flower series, and the Frost Flower series is based on, I get the Missouri Conservationist magazine, and we're a big camping family, and there's this thing that happens in the fall at the first frost where all the vegetation is still green on the forest floor, but the first frost, a lot of these plants will burst open, and as the moisture hits the air, it creates these formations that are called frost flowers. And I really, again, just love the metaphor of this frost flower, and these, they're incredibly delicate. If you touch them, they'll just completely shatter. As soon as the sun comes out, they just disappear. Like the whole forest floor will be covered with them, and then they'll be gone. So I love that. I love that idea of these flowers, and that flower form has always been a component of my work, and something that reoccurs in a lot of different images. So I brought that back and used it as a format. The acorn is a really, really familiar icon in my work. It's something that reoccurs over and over, and you know, it seems kind of cheesy, but it really is it's the whole notion of the idea again. I started by making, I found these kind of giant acorns, and I started by trying to fit a little sculpture inside of them, like these little wax sculptures, and that didn't really work. As I just thought each acorn is like this idea of potential. It's like it's, you know, putting something that could be this really wonderful, amazing thing, and so it just became a drawing motif. And I've always used this kind of broken edge as a way to combine two different kinds of space. Like the acorn, I mean, obviously is a little thing, but it can open up and be this expansive thing. So it again plays with that microcosm, macrocosm, big little moment. And the acorn is something that repeated through each one of these schooner drawings, these schooner Michigan drawings, where in some of them it was this rock face shape, but it was always there. So it was just kind of this repetition or reassertion of this, like the notion of the idea, and just pushing the idea forward. It's appeared in a lot of different ways and a lot of different manifestations, but it's just a window. I think with like everything, originally when I would do the collages on these, the forms from the collage would be the windows, and then as the drawings became more and more elaborate, I felt the need to just really create a window within the drawing. I kind of do a little bit of that over here too in these. There's also this bear that wanders through a lot of the work, which has become sort of the me character. And in this one, he's sneaking up on the fire, and in the one over there in the frostflower fireplace one, he's taking a swim. There's a lot of them where he just kind of appears and disappears, so he's this wandering kind of character that comes in and out of it. It makes me, I don't know, William Wiley always kind of had his Mr. Unnatural kind of guy, and that's someone that I really feel akin to, is like artists like William Wiley, and obviously the Chicago Imagists and a lot of folk artists, and they have moments where they're very self-referential within there, and so I think that the bear is the nod to me. So, the material choices that I make in these work, I think, are a nod to a lot of folk artists. I've always just had, I think I'm a kind of romanticize, things a lot. I collect things. I think it's just, I've always really been drawn to things that are old, books that are old materially, comic books. I was a really avid comic book reader. I love old cartoons, all of that stuff that has that feel, like 30s or 40s, kind of time period to it, which is, I think that's originally why I chose the coloring books for all of the collage elements. And then from there, I guess the materials still are really simple. It's like, it's colored pencil, it's graphite, it's acrylic paint, and a lot of ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen is this really versatile media. I just really like the mark that it makes. I like the way that I can render with it, and I do like the fact that I can just go down to the grocery store and buy more of them if I want to. And I think that just, the whole thing kind of has to hold together. I felt like if these were really slick, it wouldn't be right. It's like I'm really conscious about everything being matte. Like all the surfaces kind of have to be matte, unless there's like glue or something that's poured on it, and then it has to be shiny. But I really want them to feel old and new at the same time. I want them to feel like they're memories. I want them to, I want them to be kind of locked in this. I think, what's that word? Nostalgia. I think that a lot of people think that's kind of a bad word, but I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I think I'm a very nostalgic person.